So we talked about having strength and flexibility in all aspects of the arm shoulder and being able to train that and have strength throughout that process because it's so important that we have range of motion and dynamic range of motion because we don't want to be able to hit just one area. Just like a baseball pitcher or a quarterback in football, we need to hit that ball into different spots. We need to be able to move it around the block. We need to be able to manipulate our arm to a defense, right? So a baseball pitcher does this because it's a little bit more set, but the strike zone and what pitches he's trying to get through, he has to have a little bit different of a lead and a load and a follow through. Volleyball is much more like football, where there's guys coming at you, and you have to change up your throw because of the different defenders and the looks. So the block showing you different looks, you have to kind of give different load and different follow through. So where you point your arm basically at the end is what part of the body you're going to be using, and we're going to see different kind of load here. So we're following through, and he kind of goes straight down the middle here because he's hitting straight ahead. It's kind of a warm up hit. So he's following through just down, kind of almost brings it between his legs. Lanza here, he's a little bit more flexible in that arm joint, and he hits it behind, and you can see how it's following through outside of his body and rotating to the right. Again, that follow through is to the right, so it's straight down to the side. And Tasenovic, the Serbian opposite, he's got a very fast arm. He does this little double flick. You can see how loose the hand is right there. Again, 90 degrees on top. And he kind of goes, because he's hitting forward, right? These are left side attacks. He's hitting, doesn't really go into his left side pocket, but it goes forward and then to the right a little bit. Again, acceleration phase, loading phase here. Loading. Now we're going to start to accelerate here. Now the elbow, see everything's driving forward. Loading. 90 degrees. Good elbow lead. Elbow is relaxed, the triceps relax at this point, and then strong on contact. The legs are quiet, then forward, and that arm just kind of does an interesting recoil, kind of brings it back forward. Podroskinin, the Serbian middle, he's going up, he's got a nice diamond load. Contacts kind of puts it in his pocket a little bit because he's hitting to the left also. So he's also hitting, you're directing your whole body, and you're actually hitting it, this way. So he's hitting it to the left here. So we have Matt Anderson serving here. And it's such a flash. It's so quick. These plays are so fast. If you don't notice it and you don't know what you're looking at, it's almost overwhelming a little bit at first because it looks very complicated and so aggressive. Look how quick this is. Wham. But if we slow it down here, we're going to notice the process is the same. Drive step, big double arm lift. Loading phase begins here. Opens up, really nice load, really nice hip shoulder separation, really good curl. Bam, same thing with this arm here, just like how it rotates with the how the rotator cuff works the same to get us into this nice acceleration phase, and then bam, hands behind the head naturally. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing no matter if you're a woman, if you're a guy, doesn't matter. And then bam, leading high with the elbow, getting this nice stretching feeling going. And then bam, full contact. And you'll see a little bit of a shoulder dip. You don't want to go too much, but this is reaching as high as you can. This is a really, lots of body control to really reach at your peak, keeping your chin up. So you're keeping your head a little bit up and go grab that ball. So strong on contact, and now we've relaxed again. Now we're in relaxing, and he's putting his hand right in his pocket. But I want you to notice, though, that he's serving here. So the hand naturally has to follow through that same direction and curls and whips itself in the back. So it's almost slapping himself in the back. See, he's literally almost slapping himself in the back here. But that's where he's putting it. If he went down the line, maybe his hand would go to the other direction. But he's serving here, and so his hand whips around his body and hits himself in the back. There, you can see the hand here. You can see the hand there. And it's literally hugging himself. And it's really loose. It's really relaxed. And again, you can see this really good reaching stretch. This acceleration phase is that here. Bam, that's when we start, from here to there. From there to there. This is our phase 3. Everybody does the same. If you notice so far, everyone is doing this the same. It looks almost identical. And again, the legs are quiet, and the hips rotate, and the legs relax, and then come down, and then shock absorber. So let's see fast motion again. Frame by frame, slow motion. Again, full speed. Here's slow motion. A little bit slower motion. And let's go frame by frame here. So we're breaking down this frame by frame. We can really see each process take shape that we've been talking about. This really, really good hip shoulder separation load. This really good rotator cuff muscles tightening up and rotating. This really 90-degree separation. This really nice elbow lead. This really good outside of your body on your right hitting shoulder in front of you. Contact. This tenseness on contact with the legs relaxed. And then your body goes relaxed again. And your arm is accelerating through where you're directing the ball. So his arm goes into his left pocket because he's hitting the ball to the left. And we can see the play run out here. And we're going to see Zaitsev here again. Going up the hit. Again, here's that 90-degree angle. Loading again, 90-degree here. Contacting on top of you. Pushing the ball through. And his back has some forward flexion in it some strength forward flexion coming in. You can see how Zaitsev is a little bit more stiff than Anderson. Anderson has a really nice, loose, relaxed flow to him. Zaitsev has kind of a little bit more compact, but it's still the essentials are the same. Here's Anderson again. This is him at a different time. So I like to see the same player, even years different. This is probably that last shot of Anderson was actually from this last year because he was playing for Modena right there, and Zaitsev, those are both a Modena clip. And he's only played for Modena this last year. That was 2019, even 2020, right before everything. So this clip right here is from USA Volleyball. This was probably 5 years ago. So we're talking about a 5-year difference, and let's see how different the technique is. Well, I'll tell you it's not different at all. So that's why, that's why I like to compare these things, because there's a repeatable process here. So let's go ahead and see this. Again, and when it's fast motion, it looks very dynamic and a little overwhelming, but it's a process. So again, same thing. Drive step, big acceleration, drive step, arms are relaxed. Acceleration, loading phase starts. He brings his arm back really nicely. He doesn't go high at all with this. Then again here, acceleration phase, 90-degree acceleration phase, legs are loose. Elbow draws with the elbow, the tricep facing up with the whole shoulder capsule opened up, the armpit is facing open, and then on top falling through, and then slapping himself in the back. You can see it's a little pixelated, but he's slapping himself again right here on this side of this arm right here. And he's rotated from open. You can see his feet facing this direction on takeoff. And you can see this torquing process here. And the torquing process allows the feet now to rotate a little bit. So now our feet are facing this way on landing. So we've rotated from here to landing there. Again, we'll go by frame by frame. And it looks very, almost unbelievably identical to his previous 5 years later attack. Okay, let's go back to the other one really quick. There's a reason he's been very good for a very long amount of time. He's very efficient in his movements. Even his feet turn perfectly, frame by frame. Rotates perfectly, follows through. Now 5 years later, here, this play. Slow motion. frame by frame. Again, unbelievable, right? Very similar. Consistency. So we talked about a couple things here. Now, this is a forward view. This is one of our first forward view. I really want to show on contact now what muscles are really being activated and stabilizing that shock wave, right? We talked about that shock wave. So I really want to show you from the forward view of what the acceleration phase looks like, and then on contact exactly what's being really kind of absorbing that shock wave and how we can get that tension away from that bicep tendon. And in a much stronger lat, pec, pectoralis minor and major contraction, which allows us to hit the ball much harder instead of just hitting the top of our shoulder. So we're really using our lats and our pecs, different muscles, to drive and contact. So again, let's just show, because I like showing how similar all players are. We can see this acceleration, this drive phase. Again, we talked about the drive phase right here. Looks the same. Big heel to toe. Look at that heel really absorbing input. Heel to toe. Our left foot comes through and brakes. Punch the brake. Now that's common, right? Everybody does that same thing. Now is the loading phase, which is unique to a player. He does a diamond-shaped load. This is Lishnik from Serbia. He's a Serbian middle blocker. Lishnik. Yeah, this is him playing in his pro team. That's why the colors are different. This is for SKA Baklov. Belchglov. You know, one of those SKA. PGE SKA. And so he does a diamond-shaped load. But he's a very good jumper, as you're about to see. So he has time to relax that into a flat elbow open load too. So he has kind of a combo load. He has the standard diamond, but now he has time to open up. And again, this is perfect right here, right? So we can clearly see the 90-degree arm behind the head. Hands open, the palm is facing the ceiling like you're high-fiving the ceiling. That left hand is being pushed down and going forward. And then that elbow drive is really getting on it. So right here, we can see a few things here. We can really see this lat and say, here's the pec muscle. Here's the two pecs. Here's the lats. Here's the shoulder. Here's the shoulder. So these two pec muscles here. Here's our pec muscle here. And then here's our lat. And then here's our armpit. The edge right here is really getting the brunt of this force. These two muscles, you can go up and grab them. Your armpit is made up of these two muscles. So the arm rotates forward. And so now all that energy right about to be shockwaved is going through here, is translating through the hand, through the elbow, through the tricep, which is a very strong, your tricep is a very powerful muscle in your forearm. It's much bigger than your bicep. It's a much more of a decreasing muscle. It's a pushing down muscle, and it allows to absorb this shock wave and to propel this ball. And so when you make contact, you can see this right here is really getting utilized right here. So you can see the chest and the lat is really getting a lot of that impact, and not just the deltoid, which is the shoulder capsule, of course. So he's hitting on top of the ball, and now you can see if he's hitting here and the ball's going to go here, which way is his arm going to follow through? It's just like you're putting your arm where you want the ball to go. So if he was going to hit to the left, he would have a different load, but if he's going to hit it here, the arm's going to follow through there. See, just like that. Look at that line. Drew that perfectly without even trying. So the ball is going to follow that path perfectly, and the arm's going to follow that path perfectly. And there's no way of stopping this arm. He's hitting right through this ball. There is way too much force and energy. If he had stopped his arm halfway, one, the ball's not going to have a lot of energy getting hit through, and it's not going to explode out of his hand like it does. And two, it's going to really jar that shoulder. It's going to really, really put a lot of vibration. If you just stopped your arm here, try to stop it here, and didn't go any further, just going with this and stopping, and not going through, completely whipping all the way through, you're going to really put a lot of shock wave into that shoulder joint. It's not going to survive a very long time hitting balls this hard like this. So we can see 90 degrees, 90 degrees, contact where we're stiff. Our whole body is pretty contracted right now. We're driving through that ball, and now we're loose again. Now at this moment right now, we're completely loose and relaxed. And you can see that arm whipping through, really naturally whipping through there. So let's go full motion here. Lishnik from Serbia. You can Google all these players too, and you can find multiple examples of this, but the technique looks the same. All right, you go slow motion, and then the slow motion stops because whoever was filming this was... But I really like how he follows through that way. You can really see how his hip opens up. Look how closed off the hip is going forward, and then the body is forward here. So now let's get back into the man of men, Giba here, and the Brazilian team. Oh, tricked you. We're looking at Andre Nascimento, the lefty opposite here. He has very good technique for a left-hander too. He relies a lot on this, a little bit of this really kind of big arm, relaxed arm load. So acceleration phase, right there, you can see the arm kind of still rotating, the rotator cuff muscles pick up the arm vertically, and now it's totally relaxed, the arm's behind the head. And now once the arm's behind the head, now you can sequence it going forward and outside. So again, this is a left-hander. And again, the legs are completely relaxed. They fly through there. You know, let's just look at the legs for a second. The lower body, let's see how relaxed it is to follow through here. Look at these legs, just no weight at all. It's all hip upper body rotation at this point. So again, he's really turned off that leg so that way the hip and the shoulders can rotate and translate that force quickly. So here's the same play, just with a little floor view. Again, that loading phase, that arm rotates up. Look at that head way in front of that arm. 90 degrees. Perfect, there we go. That's what we really want to see. So you've noticed so far that how many players, this is what it looks like. And then over his hitting shoulder, because he's left-handed, it's over his left shoulder, out in front. And you can really see from this view here that when he hits it, he's really getting that right there. You can really see how these muscles are taking the brunt. Not the top muscles, not the top. The bottom muscles are taking the lat and the pec are really taking the brunt of this hit. Look at this. Again, and he glides down very nicely. Look at the legs. Smooth flight. Easy landing. So he's taken the separation from hip shoulder separation. He's really hip shoulder separation amazing. Look at his hips are facing one way, his shoulder is completely open, his chest is facing the other way, and he's rotating around the hips through the shoulders. So that way the arms are really accelerating fast and the legs are just kind of relaxed. And then they rotate through. Then nice brace for impact, good landing, repeatable action. Here's Matt Anderson again from the side. This is a true side view. We've seen this one before. It's cool to see the same image before, but looking at different aspects. So again, we looked at the drive, then we looked at the load. Let's get into the acceleration part. So we're here, right? So now we've gotten to this point. So now we're looking at the same video with different eyes and different intentions here. Before we looked at his approach and his load. Now let's look at the acceleration from the side view angle, because this is a good angle here. Again, I want to show you from all spots and all angles that you have a kind of a three-dimensional look at what's really going on from every side. So right here, we're starting to accelerate. And our bow is starting to straighten out. Our hands behind our head. And bam, perfect. Look at this again here. 90 degrees. Very good angle. The elbow's relaxed and loose. And down in front, so it's a really good C shape in front. Textbook perfect. And you can see the underneath of that arm is really taking the brunt of that impact. It's not the top of the shoulder, it's really the lat and the armpit that's really taking the brunt of that impact, that shock wave. And again, at this point, the thumb is to the side and the hand is facing up. The palm, it's just an open hand, and the palm, it's just like your high. If you went vertical right here like this, if you put your hand straight up, you would high five. You would make perfectly you would contact it flush against the ceiling. So the thumb is to your left, the fingers are to your top. That way, when you come this way forward, the hand, your fingertips are on top of the ball, your thumb is to the left of the ball, and then the palm of your hand is contacting the mass of the ball. No tension in the legs again. He's really utilizing this forward back flexion a little bit. Contacting through the legs, don't kick at all. You see how soft the legs are here. Look how subtle the feet are. See, there's no kick or contraction, because the upper body is rotating and the energy is passed, and the legs are calm and quiet, and the energy is passed into the upper body. And then on landing, soft break. Soft break. Here's a Shiki from Japan. Very, very, very dynamic player. He's a really young kid. He's only started playing when he was 18 or 19 on the national team. I think he's 20 right now. He's only about 6'2", which is really short. It's not even, I mean, that's short for any position really nowadays, especially as an opposite. That's extremely tiny, but his technique is unbelievable. So we can see this really beautiful full body swing roundhouse kind of load. But we still want to get to there. This is where we talked about that rotator cuff, how we did that model that showed the rotator cuff, and different exercises we can do to strengthen that. Curling up. We can see this phase right here. So we're curling, that's our loading. We get a hand behind the head, and you can really see how this is not necessarily just a shoulder hit. It's a full body hit, and this part of the body is really absorbing. You can just see how this part of the body here is really absorbing this impact. You can see that the center point of impact and the shock wave is traveling through that part, not just the top shoulder blade. So we're really getting a lot of vibration through the armpit and through the chest. So our lat is a huge muscle, and our chest is a huge muscle. We want those muscles activated, we want those muscles working, and we want those muscles to absorb. He kind of has an interesting follow through after he hits. It's kind of like this dynamic row. Hitting the ball so hard though. And this guy really hits the ball hard. Whew. And of course the coach is really mad because that was pretty an easy dig on this play here, and then it creates a free ball with a setter. Well, I blame the setter mostly on this play, to be honest. He could have set that ball. He basically gave a free ball back to them. But anyways, a lot of force going forward, generating hit, and then of course you can see the coach all mad. Ah, 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 ah. That's what happens when you have a kinetic chain like this, and you have this kind of athleticism, strength training, jump, coordination, all these factors tied into this perfect kinetic chain. You get this boosh. He's really well known for his jump serve. Again, only 6'2", 20 years old. But it's the same kind of thing. 90, behind, 90, there. Forward outside hit. Absorbing that blow. Absorbing that shock wave. Yelling to the crowd because you're so good. Again, it looks so fast, but if you have to slow motion down and you take these steps, these processes, they're the same. He has very, very quick muscle fibers. He's from Japan, of course. Forgot to say that. I say of course because it's the World Cup and everything's in Japanese. The logos and stuff. Okay, let's see, we have Milkovich here. Again, we got a little bit of a slower motion here. Again, the rotator cuff muscles load up. Elbow high, hand behind the head, elbow 90 degrees, contact, drive through. He's hitting to the left, so his acceleration follow through is to the left. Young Milkovich, serving, same thing. This was probably 6 years earlier. So Milkovich, we just saw before at 27, 28 years old. This is 21-year-old Milkovich, but same thing. Arm behind the head, flatten out there. You can see the left hand's by the waist, going forward towards that hand, accelerating it through. You can see the armpit, everything is being used, that lat. And then nice landing too. So acceleration phase here, forward, contact. Loose, 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 loose. Stiff, stiff, driving, stiff, loose again now. Relaxed. So loose, 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 getting everything lined up. Getting everything in coordination, loose, 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 stiff, strong contact. Strong body contortion, now loose again. And relaxed. Again, loose, relax. You can really see this looseness in Yakovlev's hand here. But hand behind the head really clearly because of the tape you can see. And then that elbow up high. The thumb is out to the right, high-fiving the ceiling, Elbow leads 90 degrees, as you can see here, perfectly. Contacts out in front, exhales, accelerates through, and you can see how his left hand is coming, you can see is coming into his left hand. So he's coming forward into his left hand. And rotating through, he kind of goes to the right on this to decelerate. And then he braces through. So this whole process here is it's a whole fiasco recoil here. And you can see his taped hands. He really tapes them up. And it's interesting to note because there wasn't really internet at this time. This was the 2000 Olympics. And these players all grew up in the early 90s with not a lot of video and not a lot of shared knowledge. It's not like today where everybody has these volumetrics and different internet and games that we can all watch, and I can pull out every single country and I can see every single player I want to. These are all different countries that are all isolated in the early 90s that really don't communicate that often, but yet all these players have very similar fundamentals. If you notice, it's interesting because they're all from different countries, they're all from different upbringings, they're all from different languages, but yet volleyball is a universal. Like I said, there's the drive phase, which is very similar, if not identical. Then there's the loading phase, which is a little bit unique. Each player kind of has a little bit of their own flair. And then there's that acceleration phase, which is identical again, so it's not unique. It's common, and it's a normal process. So again, these players are all from different countries, all from different languages, all from different creeds, all these different things. So here's Boskovic, the Serbian woman, 21-year-old. Again, let's zoom in. And there. You can see very similar again. Elbow leads high, contacts there. She's putting her offhand almost at her face. This is kind of a almost like a football throw here. But she's driving into that ball. She keeps a very high offhand. But still, 90 degrees, acceleration stiff, then relaxed. Again, now this is 2008, so we went from 2019 now down to 2008. Brazil, so we just went from Serbia, and this is Sheila here. So this is a great hit by Sheila, great set, nice tempo, crush down. So again, totally different languages, two totally different upbringings, two totally different 2008 to 2019. So we're talking a long time difference. These people grew up in totally different eras of volleyball. Everything was different, but yet still the arm rotates the same. The hand gets behind the head, still 90 degrees. As we can still see, hand behind the head, then it rotates up, then 90 degrees here. So this is exactly what we want, the hammer down. And then the armpit area is getting the energy, and the elbow just goes forward. So again, Sheila from Brazil here. Here's Boskovic again. Let's fast forward up until this acceleration phase here. Okay, so we're done with our load here. So this is our classic load, C shape. We know it's our end of our load because the elbow is as far back as possible. And we've smoothly transitioned. Now we're accelerating. The arm capsule is rotating. The hand is relaxed. Very textbook here. Perfect. Come with the next 90-degree angle. Contacts through. Accelerates through forward. So here we go. Relax the arm. Let gravity do its work. Now accelerate forward as fast as you can. Relax now, strong on contact. So be relaxed and whip that ball through. Put your hand through that ball. See how your hand doesn't stop? The hand does not stop. It goes through the ball. Hand through the ball. All the way through at a tie point. Drive that ball. I had an old coach, he would say, it's a piece of leather. You control the piece of leather. Make the leather do what you want it to do. So you're driving it with your whole body through that ball. Mikhailovich, same thing. Let's go just to the acceleration. Let's just go to the acceleration. So here we have a beautiful load. This is an unbelievable textbook here. These two Serbian girls, women are really, really good at this. Really fun to watch. Really technically sound. So that arm rotates back so it's flipping behind. We get to see a left-hander, now we get to see a right-hander. Again, 90 degrees. Let's see here. Let's see if this works here. Yeah, look at that. There we go. Perfect. And then we whip through and she goes to her right. She follows through all the way to the right. So look at the hand. To the right. So it's not just to the left. That hand has to be able to do different things, full range of motion. And so now she's directing the ball to the left, so she's followed through to the left. You can see this in two different swings, back to back here, what she's doing. So here, she's accelerating. Let's talk about contracting here. This is really tense, contraction through the zone. Now she's relaxed again. That hand goes to the right. Because she's relaxed, she's hitting it straight. Now she's hitting it on contact. She wants to drive that ball. She's here. She wants to drive that ball down here, so she's going to put her hand now to the left. There, see, to the left now. Because she's driving that ball to that spot. She's putting her hand through the zone. She's not finished her arm swing here. She's putting her arm all the way through that spot and all the way through the air and through forward at that spot. Just like that video of Listich hitting You can clearly see that hand follow through where they are. Mikhailovich. Leon here. Again, Leon, 90 degrees. Legs are relaxed, 90 degrees here. Good elbow lead. Hand out in front. Really good whip through. Look how much he's whipping through this ball. Look at this right hand whipping through the ball. Left hand is at the waist. Hand follow through because he's hitting it to the left. That's why the hand's going to the left. He's going in, he's driving his body into that left hand. There's no stopping that accelerating arm. He's letting his back muscles take over. He's relaxed now. He's completely loose again. Again, different day, different match. Same Leon. Yikes. Again, 90 degrees, leading with the elbow, outside of his body. Accelerating that left hand through, that right hand follows through, right through the ball. Look how much whippage there, and now the arm's relaxed again. Their arm's relaxed completely again. Now it's whipping and relaxed. So again, let's go back to Mihailovich or even Sheila here. Same kind of thing here. Same concept. Same concept, same arms, same techniques.